Chef Alex, and today we're going to make a dish called Arroz Imperial, or Imperial rice. Now, this is a layered chicken and rice dish, okay? Essentially what you're going to do is you're going to start out with a stock. That stock will flavor your rice, and then the chicken that you made from the stock, or you made the stock, will then be shredded and layered with the rice, okay? So the first thing you got to do is you got to wash your chicken, okay? And let me show you why. If you could close up over here under the chicken, I want you to see this. This is a sealed bag from the market, okay? Look at this. Look at this. You expect me to open this bag, right? And just use it. Let me tell you something. That's disgusting, okay? So we're going to wash and we're going to dry this chicken, and then we're going to, essentially, we're going to boil the chicken in water. All right, now, why in water? Well, I want to control it. All right, now, you can normally do it in vegetables and make a chicken stock. Okay, this is a chicken stock as well. The only difference is there are not going to be any vegetables in it. Okay, no salt, no pepper, no bay leaves, no onions, no garlic, nothing to give an extra flavor that I don't want later on what I'm using. Does that make sense? Okay. So, yeah, if you have a chicken stock that's full of thyme and herb de Provence, you know, and now you're using Mediterranean seasonings, those are going to just against each other. They're not going to match. So you got to tone down the flavor of your stock. Okay, everything starts out with the stock. So if I add too much flavor to this stock now, then the rice comes out no good. Okay, so that's first. Second, when you're making the stock for a compound rice, only add the amount of water that you need for your rice. Okay? In this case, I am making 5 cups of rice. Okay? So, now it's not regular long grain rice. It's 2 cups of converted rice, which will give me just about 5 cups of rice. Alright? So, I'm going to start out with 5 cups of water. Not 10. I'm not going to put the chicken in there and then shove this thing under the sink and then put the water on until it looks good. No. I'm going to measure out 5 cups of water because that's what my rice is going to need. Okay? So the stock that's going to come out of the chicken, all right, all that flavor, 5 cups. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this chicken, we're going to wash it, dry it, clean it up really nice. I'm going to put 5 cups of water, and then I'm going to set it to cook until it falls apart. And we'll be back when it falls apart. All right, we are back. And so let me explain what we did. The only thing we did is we cooked chicken in water. All right? We cleaned our chicken, we dried it, I cut it into pieces because it's easier. And then what we did is we put 5 cups of water. Since we're going to make 5 cups of rice, we put 5 cups of water and we boiled the hell out of it until it was pretty much disintegrated. Alright? Then it cooled down. We separated the chicken from the bones, obviously. And this is the stock. Now, let me show you the stock, which has absolutely nothing in it, okay? There is no salt, no pepper, no onions, no garlic, no seasonings whatsoever. Why? Because you don't know what you're going to use it for, and this is a multi-purpose stock, okay? And I did it to illustrate to you why we do it. So the first thing I'm going to do on this stock is I'm going to take this disc out. Okay, see this disc right here? See this disc right here? Now, chef, why are you doing that? Why don't you use butter or olive oil or something like that? Well, believe it or not, there's a lot of flavor in this chicken fat, as bad as it is for you, okay? Now, this isn't something you have every day, so consider this a festive holiday meal that you have once a year, okay? Now, if you don't want to do it with the disc, you don't have to. You can use olive oil or butter or whatever it is that you want, okay? Or rapeseed oil or some crap like that. Whatever you want, okay? It's not going to hurt the dish. Might take away a little bit of the flavor, but that's it. Alright, so we're going to melt that. And at the same time, we're going to take the rest of our stock. Look at this. Look at how much of a jelly that is. Look at that. Huh? That's nice. Alright? Alright, so I am going to melt the stock and I'm going to melt the fat. Now, the fat is melted. I'm turning it off for the moment because it's to saute some vegetables and I'm not ready for the vegetables yet. Okay, so I'm going to do them here in real time for you. Now we're going to saute this. We'll break this down. But remember, bite size. Now before we go, I do want to show you something. Okay. We're going to take our mix here and we're going to saute it. Alright? And this is very quick. Alright, so we're going to saute it, we're going to mix the chicken together with it, and that's it. Takes a little salt and pepper. Okay. A little salt, a little pepper. And remember, we're sauteing it in chicken fat. Alright. Now, we're ready for our break. We'll come back in about 25 minutes. So, one last thing before we go. I wanted to talk about the chicken fat. You see, one of the misconceptions is that when you go to a restaurant, you're getting olive oil, or you're getting butter, or you're getting stuff like that. Okay? Let me explain how this works. This chicken produced enough fat to saute the entire meal. Okay? So if that's the case, we're not going to spend the money on olive oil or butter. You understand? Just let it sit, let it cool, and use the discs as the fat. Okay? You're going to see this anywhere you have any kind of dish like this, like chicken and dumplings or something like that, okay? Because they're going to use the chicken fat. The chicken fat is full of flavor, okay? So with that said, take that break. All right, so I have taken the saute with the chicken fat and I have mixed it back into the shredded chicken. And I included 1 tablespoon of mayo. Just one, okay? Just a tiny little bit. You don't want it to overpower it. You don't even want to know it's there, okay? But that little bit of creaminess, you'll be like, what? Where did that come from? Okay, we'll be back. All right, we're back. So the rice, I've taken it out of the oven. It's been 35 minutes. Let's check to see how we did. Let me grab a spoon and a spatula. Let's see how we did. Woo! Come on over here. Check this out. Look at that, huh? This is rice that you can get out of your oven. You know, it's still a little wet, and that's totally fine because we're going to put it back in the oven in a few minutes. Okay? Look at that. That's perfect. Okay? So now, this is an easy dish. All right? And we're not going to make a lot of it because it isn't for a lot of people. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take half the rice. And I'm going to layer it down at the bottom. Okay. Just like so. Now, normally, the next thing I would do is put mayo. But, here's the thing. This is still hot. So, if I put the mayo will melt instantly. So, I'm going to let it go in a different way this time. So, we're going to put our layer of chicken in next. Now, this is the entire chicken, okay? Look at how much chicken this is. You're like, wow, that doesn't look like a lot of food for, 5 or 6 people, but when you stick all this chicken in here, look at this. Look at this, how big this thing got all of a sudden, huh? This is 1 chicken, 2 cups of converted rice, which makes about 5 cups, okay? Now, I want to spread it so that every little nook and cranny gets chicken. Okay? Now, next step. We're going to put some mayo. This is a layered dessert. I'm sorry, a layered dish. And this is what they like to call the Cuban lasagna. Okay? So here we're going to go a little bit, not a lot. Look what I found. A bone. That should be enough. Okay? You want just a very thin layer. You don't want this to overpower your dish. This will overpower the dish, by the way. If you put too much mayo, you'll only taste mayo. That's not what you want, okay? The idea is to taste everything, very slightly. Okay? So notice what we're doing here, okay? We're spreading this in here very nicely. A nice layer. Now this is the only mayo this is going to get, okay? You don't put mayo on the top layer. All right, that would be too much. Think of this as an egg yolk, and you put an egg yolk into something to richen it up, okay? So that's what you're doing here. You're richening up something that already has a bunch of chicken fat in it. All right, so next step. Now I'm not looking to cover this, okay, because I want to put more on the top. So I'm only going to put 3 or 4 here. Make sure these don't have the paper. It would be the first time I put paper on them. Alright. So there's your layer of Swiss cheese right there. Now you can use any cheese you want. It's not hot anymore. Okay. So you can use any cheese you like. Alright. Just put it up there in slices. The slices will melt better, okay? Alright, see, there's all our rice. Now we're spreading it. And the only thing we're going to do here is we're going to add a layer of cheese. More cheese. Because, you can't have enough cheese. And here we're going to cover it in the cheese, okay? I want every little grain of rice, baby, because this stuff is good. All right, we got good gold there. All right. So, last but not least, Chef, you're not making the cheese. Come on, guys. There's some things that you see on the internet that is like really out there. Like, making those lady fingers. I mean, to have you stand in front of the stove like we do for 30 minutes and whisk a genoise and then, fold stuff into it and then bake it and then, roll it if you're going to make a roll, and if not, this takes hours and hours, and it's very thankless, I'm going to say, because you're going to spend 3 hours making the genoise and the lady fingers or your Swiss roll or whatever, and it's going to be appreciated, but not as much as, a barbecue sandwich. So, perspective on where you put your time, okay? Try to put less time in this and more time with your family. That's why I say don't make the lady fingers. It's not worth it, All right, so last but not least, this guy's going to go in the oven for about 20 minutes, just to get it warm. Okay, as you can see, it's going to go uncovered, and we'll come back in 20 minutes. All right, we're back. So it's been 35 minutes, and this is the final product. So this is Arroz Imperial, a layered Cuban lasagna, as they say. So remember,
Learn to cook, and you'll eat better for the rest of your life.